From the air, Mauritius appears almost unreal. A volcanic island surrounded by bright lagoons, coral reefs, and beaches that seem untouched by time. But Mauritius is not simply another tropical paradise. On this small island off the coast of Africa, 4 different worlds were brought together: African, European, Indian, and Chinese. Their languages fill the same streets. Their places of worship rise beside one another. Their recipes meet on the same plate. And behind the postcard image lies a much deeper story, one shaped by slavery, migration, empire, resistance, and survival. Today, more than 1 million people call this island home. But almost every Mauritian family carries the memory of a journey that began somewhere else. This is life inside Mauritius. Mauritius lies in the Indian Ocean, east of Madagascar, and more than 1,800 kilometers from mainland Africa. The country covers roughly 2,000 square kilometers, making the main island small enough to cross by car in little more than an hour. Yet within this limited space are crowded cities, quiet fishing villages, mountain forests, sugar plantations, and some of the most photographed coastlines on Earth. Its capital, Port Louis, sits between the sea and a wall of dark volcanic mountains. Around 1.2 million people live in the Republic of Mauritius today. The population is the result of centuries of movement from Europe, Africa, India, China, and other parts of the Indian Ocean. The island itself is volcanic, but much of its shoreline is protected by coral reefs, creating shallow lagoons where the ocean changes from deep blue to turquoise. This natural barrier helped shape life here. It provided fishing grounds, protected settlements, and eventually helped turn Mauritius into one of the Indian Ocean's most famous destinations. But the island's modern identity was not created by nature alone. It was created by the people who arrived here. For much of its early history, Mauritius had no large permanent human settlement. Portuguese sailors reached the region but did not establish a lasting colony. Then, in 1598, Dutch ships landed at Grand Port and named the island Mauritius after Prince Maurice of Nassau. The Dutch introduced sugarcane, deer, and domestic animals, but repeated attempts to settle the island struggled, and they eventually abandoned it in 1710. 5 years later, the French claimed the island and renamed it Île-de-France. Under French rule, Port Louis became a naval base and shipbuilding center. Roads were built, forests were cleared, sugar estates expanded, and thousands of enslaved people were brought from Africa, Madagascar, and other regions to work in brutal conditions. In 1810, British forces captured the island. 4 years later, it was officially transferred to Britain and given back its former name, Mauritius. But unlike in many conquered colonies, French language and culture remain deeply rooted. That is why modern Mauritius can feel both British and French, while being completely neither. Slavery was abolished under British rule in 1835. The plantation owners then searched for a new workforce. Their solution would transform the island forever. Near the modern waterfront of Port Louis stands a group of stone buildings known as Apravasi Ghat. The site appears modest, but it was once the entry point for one of the largest systems of organized labor migration in modern history. After slavery ended, the British transported indentured workers to Mauritius, primarily from India, but also from Eastern Africa, Madagascar, China, and Southeast Asia. They signed contracts promising wages and eventual freedom. In reality, many encountered exhausting labor, poor accommodation, punishment, and severe restrictions on their movement. Between the 1830s and the early 20th century, hundreds of thousands of indentured laborers passed through Mauritius. Many worked in the sugarcane fields. Many remained after their contracts ended. Their children and grandchildren would eventually become central to the country's political, economic, and cultural life. Our Pravasi Ghat is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it represents the beginning of the global indentured labor diaspora that followed the abolition of slavery. This history explains why Indian traditions are visible everywhere today. But they did not simply replace what came before. They mixed with African, European, and Chinese influences to create something new, something distinctly Mauritian. To understand Mauritius, you begin in Port Louis. Every morning, buses and cars pour into the capital. Office workers move between modern towers. Vendors lift metal shutters. Delivery trucks squeeze through narrow colonial streets. The city is dense, noisy, and constantly moving. Inside the central market, fruit and vegetables are stacked in bright pyramids. The voices of traders echo across the old hall. Spices, herbal remedies, clothing and household goods compete for space. This is not a market designed only for tourists. It remains part of ordinary life. People come here to shop, eat, talk, and negotiate. At the food stalls, one of the island's most familiar meals is prepared in seconds. Dal puri is a thin flatbread filled with ground split peas and served with curry, chutney, and pickles. Nearby, vendors sell samosas, fried chili cakes, noodles, dumplings, and a lauda, a cold milk drink often flavored with syrup and basil seeds. Mauritian street food reflects the same mixture found across the island. Indian spices, Chinese cooking techniques, French influences, and Creole ingredients. A short walk away is one of Africa's oldest Chinatowns. Chinese Mauritians established businesses here, many of which passed from one generation to the next. Traditional shops now stand beside murals, restaurants, and modern offices. Nothing in Port Louis exists in isolation. Every neighborhood overlaps with another, and that may be the clearest expression of Mauritius itself. Listen carefully in Mauritius, and the language can change several times during a single conversation. English is used in government and administration. French dominates much of the media. Mauritian Creole is the language most commonly heard in daily life. Hindi, Bhojpuri, Urdu, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, and Mandarin also remain connected to family history, religion, and education. People often move between languages without pausing to explain the change. The same diversity is visible in religion. Hindu temples stand along roads decorated with colorful statues. Mosques call worshippers to prayer. Catholic churches fill during Sunday services. Pagodas preserve Chinese religious traditions. Major Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and Chinese festivals are recognized across the island, even by people who do not belong to the faith celebrating them. This does not mean that Mauritius is free from political or social division. Its communities still carry distinct histories, identities, and memories, but everyday life has created countless points of connection. At school, at work, at the market, and most visibly, around food. A Mauritian meal can contain the history of the entire island. A tomato-based Creole rougaille may be served beside Indian dal, rice, and pickled vegetables. Chinese-style fried noodles appear beside chili sauces influenced by several continents. Biryani is prepared for weddings, religious celebrations, and large family gatherings. Steamed dumplings known as boulettes are eaten from small bowls of hot broth. French pastries sit in shop windows only a few streets from vendors selling gâteaux piments. The recipes have traveled, but after generations on the island, they no longer belong to only one place. They belong to Mauritius. This mixing is not carefully staged for visitors. It is visible in ordinary kitchens, school lunches, roadside stalls, and Sunday gatherings. For many families, food is also one of the strongest remaining connections to ancestors they never met. A spice mixture, a method of folding dough, or a dish prepared on a religious holiday can preserve a journey across the ocean long after the original story has been forgotten. For millions of visitors, Mauritius is associated with private beaches, infinity pools, and luxury hotels. Tourism is an important part of the country's modern economy. But the resort coastline represents only one version of the island. Beyond the hotel gates are public beaches, neighborhood shops, schools, factories, cane fields, and villages where life follows a different rhythm. On weekends, families arrive at public beaches carrying folding tables, large cooking pots, and portable speakers. Children play in the lagoon while adults prepare food under the trees. The beach is not only a tourist attraction, it is a social space, a place for birthdays, reunions, religious outings, and long afternoons with extended family. In coastal villages, small-scale fishing continues beside excursion boats and modern marinas. Elsewhere, sugarcane still covers large sections of the landscape, even though Mauritius has developed an economy far more diverse than the plantation system that once defined it. The island has changed quickly, but reminders of the old economy remain everywhere, in abandoned chimneys, estate houses, railway traces, and endless green fields divided by narrow roads. In the southwest, a mountain rises almost directly from the lagoon. This is Morne Brabant. To visitors, it is one of Mauritius's most dramatic landscapes. To many Mauritians, it is sacred ground. During the 18th and early 19th centuries, escaped enslaved people, known as Maroons, used the mountain as a refuge. Its forested slopes, caves, and steep cliffs made pursuit difficult. Small communities survived in isolation, watching the sea and the plantations below. Morne became a symbol of resistance, not because life here was easy, but because people chose the danger of the mountain over captivity. Oral traditions preserved their suffering and their determination to remain free. Today, UNESCO recognizes the Morne cultural landscape as an exceptional testimony to Maroon resistance and to the memory of slavery across Africa, Madagascar, India, and Southeast Asia. From the summit, the view is extraordinary. The lagoon stretches outward, in layers of blue. The reef forms a pale line against the open ocean. Tour boats move across the water below. It is beautiful, but the history changes the meaning of that beauty. Le Morne is not only a mountain beside a beach, it is a monument created without stone. Away from the coast, the landscape changes again. Black River Gorges National Park protects the largest remaining area of native forest on the island. Its trails cross deep valleys, waterfalls, and volcanic ridges. This is one of the last refuges for Mauritius's endemic plants and animals, species found nowhere else on Earth. Mauritius is also remembered for an animal that no longer exists. The dodo evolved in isolation without large natural predators. It could not fly, and it had little reason to fear the new creatures arriving from ships. Hunting, habitat destruction, and introduced animals devastated the population. By the end of the 17th century, the dodo had disappeared. Its extinction became one of the world's clearest early examples of how quickly human arrival could erase a species. Since then, Mauritius has become known for both environmental loss and ambitious conservation. Species such as the Mauritius kestrel and pink pigeon were brought back from the edge of extinction through intensive protection. But the struggle continues. Much of the original forest has vanished, while invasive plants and animals still threaten native ecosystems. On an island this small, there is nowhere for nature to retreat. Near the forests of the southwest, water plunges over a dark volcanic cliff at Chamarel. Not far away, the ground forms smooth dunes of red, brown, violet, and yellow. The seven-colored earth is the result of ancient volcanic material altered over immense periods of weathering. His interior is very different from the flat beaches shown in travel advertisements. Roads climb through forests and farming communities. Clouds gather around the central plateau. Temperatures fall. From high viewpoints, the entire structure of the island becomes visible. The mountains at its center, the settlements spreading outward, and the coral lagoon forming a border between land and ocean. Mauritius is often presented as a collection of beaches, but its interior tells the geological story of the island. The coast is where many visitors remain. The mountains are where Mauritius reveals its age. Modern Mauritius is no longer dependent on sugar alone. Tourism, manufacturing, financial services, communications, and other industries have created one of Africa's more diversified island economies. Port Louis is both a historic harbor and a modern commercial center. Young Mauritians grow up connected to the wider world through education, migration, and technology. Yet the country remains physically small. Development competes with farmland, forests, and heritage sites. Cyclones and a changing climate expose the vulnerability shared by many island nations. And as new buildings rise, Mauritius must decide how much of its past can be preserved. That past is never far away. It stands in the immigration depot beside the harbor. It rises in the caves of Le Morne. It survives in family names, religious festivals, recipes, and languages. Mauritius was built by people who crossed oceans under very different circumstances. Some came as colonizers, some as enslaved people, some under labor contracts, others as traders searching for a new life. Together, their descendants created a nation that belongs completely to none of the places from which they came. Mauritius is often called the island where different continents meet. But they do not meet here as separate worlds. Over generations, their borders have blurred. African rhythms entered European languages. Indian spices entered Creole kitchens. Chinese businesses became part of an African capital, and memories carried across the ocean became the traditions of a new country. The beaches may be the first thing people notice, but they are not what makes Mauritius extraordinary. The real story is found in the people who turned an isolated volcanic island into one of the most culturally layered societies in the world, a place shaped by painful history, held together by adaptation, and still learning how to protect everything that makes it unique. This is Mauritius. If you enjoy cinematic documentaries exploring remarkable places, cultures, and human stories, subscribe and join us for the next journey.